Petersburg, Virginia. Summer heat crushes trenches where thousands wait in silence. Between Union and Confederate lines, just 300 yards of scorched earth. Neither side advances. Men die daily from sniper bullets. Someone whispers an impossible idea that will change everything. Lieutenant Colonel Henry Pleasant stares at the Confederate fort blocking his path. His Pennsylvania regiment isn't ordinary infantry. They're coal miners who understand darkness and earth. One soldier speaks what others think. We could blow that fort straight to hell from below. Imagine you're trapped where movement means death. Every attack fails. Thousands perish for mere yards of blood-soaked ground. Then someone proposes tunneling beneath the enemy, planting explosives, erupting hell itself. Would you believe it possible or dismiss it as complete madness? General Ulysses Grant needs a miracle. Cold Harbor was slaughter. The siege drags on while political pressure mounts. President Lincoln's re-election hangs by a thread. Atlanta remains unconquered. Confederate raiders threaten Washington itself. Time runs out for the entire Union cause. When Pleasants presents his tunnel plan, Army engineers scoff loudly. Impossible, they declare. No ventilation system functions beyond 400 feet underground. The project is dismissed as claptrap and nonsense. They refuse assistance, tools, expertise. But Pleasants receives permission to try anyway. You're digging through earth with improvised tools while enemy soldiers walk 20 feet above. Any sound might betray you. One mistake brings tons of clay crashing down. You work in suffocating darkness, never knowing if today you'll be buried alive in Confederate soil. Support our channel. Subscribe so you won't miss exciting new videos. Your likes and comments inspire us to create more quality content. Together, we'll make this channel a place of knowledge and inspiration. Thank you for your support. Confederate defenders hear strange noises underground, picks striking earth, timber being installed. They sink listening shafts, desperate to locate the source. South Carolina troops under Stephen Elliott mend the fort above. Virginia artillerymen stand ready, but they never find the tunnel entrance below. On June 25, 1864, Pennsylvania miners begin their impossible task. They have 1 month to tunnel further than anyone has attempted. 4 tons of gunpowder wait to be packed inside. Above, the Confederacy remains unaware that destruction is being engineered in darkness. The tunnel entrance hides in a ravine, concealed from Confederate sharpshooters. The shaft measures 3 feet wide, 4.5 feet high. Cramped, airless, men crawl on hands and knees, pushing dirt-filled carts backward through blackness. Every foot gained requires removing tons. My name is Thomas Brennan. Back home in Schuylkill County, I worked anthracite mines since boyhood. Now I apply those skills to war. This Virginia clay is different, red and sticky. But the principle remains simple enough. Dig carefully or die quickly underneath enemy ground. Without proper tools, the miners improvise everything. They fashion picks from scrap metal, cut timber from nearby trees for supports, build ventilation using square wooden tube and fire near the entrance. Fresh air gets sucked in, foul air expelled. Army engineers said impossible. Day after day, the tunnel pushes deeper into Virginia earth. 50 feet, 100 feet, 200 feet. Confederate countermining efforts prove uncoordinated and sluggish. When General John Pegram senses danger, he constructs a secondary defensive line behind his position as precaution. Pleasants borrows a theodolite from a civilian friend to ensure accuracy. He calculates angles while dodging sniper fire, measuring distances from the trench carefully. One error in trajectory means missing the target entirely. 4 tons of gunpowder exploding in wrong place achieves absolutely nothing. You crawl through a tunnel so narrow, your shoulders scrape both walls constantly. Above, tons of earth press down with crushing weight. The candle flickers. For one terrifying moment, you wonder if the air is running out completely. Then you hear breathing ahead. You keep moving. By mid-July, the main shaft reaches 511 feet, longer than anyone thought remotely possible. Then miners begin digging lateral galleries perpendicular to the main tunnel, creating a T-shape. These side chambers will hold explosives. 20 feet beneath Confederate artillery positions, death is being carefully arranged. The Confederates finally stop searching. On July 23rd, the digging sounds cease completely. Rebels assume the Yankees abandoned their foolish scheme. They return to routine, standing watch, cleaning rifles, writing letters home. They have absolutely no idea the silence means the tunnel is complete. 320 kegs of gunpowder arrive at the tunnel entrance. Each contains 25 pounds, 4 tons total, the largest man-made explosion the Western Hemisphere has ever witnessed. Soldiers carry them through darkness, stacking carefully in both lateral galleries. One spark kills everyone instantly. Pleasance requested 6 tons. His superiors provided only 4. He calculates blast radius, factors in earth density, estimates crater dimensions with precision. 4 tons will have to suffice for this gamble. The kegs are positioned approximately 20 feet below Confederate earthworks. Wooden supports hold everything. Now comes battle planning. General Ambrose Burnside commands 9th Corps. He proposes sending his 4th Division first, 4,300 United States colored troops under General Edward Ferrero. They're fresh, rested, specifically trained for this precise assault. They will exploit the gap, seize Petersburg's heights. General George Meade overrules Burnside's plan immediately. The black troops are untested in combat, he argues publicly. But Grant later admits another reason. If the attack fails and colored troops led, critics will accuse Union commanders of sacrificing black soldiers because their lives matter less. Burnside gathers his 3 remaining division commanders together. He asks for a volunteer to lead instead of the 4th Division. Nobody speaks. Silence stretches uncomfortably. Finally, Burnside has them draw straws from his hand. General James Ledlie draws short. He's the least competent commander present. Ledlie has been accused of drunkenness during previous battles. He's a railroad engineer, not a natural military leader by any measure. His men barely know him personally. Now, with hours until the attack, he's supposed to prepare troops for assault they haven't trained for. Everything is improvised. Meanwhile, the 4th Division waits in frustration. These men understand what this battle means for their people. They're former slaves, free blacks, men fighting for their own liberation and dignity. They've trained for weeks specifically for this mission. They know terrain, objectives. Now they're relegated to reserve status. My name is Decatur Dorsey, Sergeant in the 39th United States Colored Troops. I've carried my regiment's colors through training exercises countless times already. Soon I'll carry them into actual battle for the first time. My grandmother said, "Freedom ain't given, boy, it's taken." On July 28th, final preparations begin throughout the Union lines. The lateral galleries are packed shut with 11 feet of earth to direct explosion upward. Another 32 feet of packed earth seals the main gallery to prevent blast from erupting back through the tunnel entrance itself. Grant has sent diversionary forces north of the James River, pulling Confederate troops away from Petersburg deliberately. Robert E. Lee takes the bait completely. He moves most of his army of Northern Virginia north, leaving General Pierre Beauregard with only 18,000 men defending the city. July 30th, 1864. 3:15 in the morning, complete darkness. Henry Pleasance lights the fuse with trembling hands. It will burn for 15 minutes before reaching the powder magazine. He emerges from the tunnel, heart pounding violently. Union artillery stands ready. Assault troops wait. 3:30 comes and goes. No explosion happens. 4 o'clock. Still nothing but silence. Meade sends urgent telegram to Burnside. If the mine has failed, assault immediately with artillery support. Burnside stalls deliberately. Sending men forward without the explosion means certain slaughter for thousands. Sergeant Henry Reese volunteers without hesitation. He grabs a lantern and crawls into darkness, moving as fast as cramped conditions allow. Lieutenant Jacob Doughty follows close behind. They find the problem. The fuse has broken at a splice point and gone out. Working by lantern light, they repair it. I'm crawling back toward the entrance, knowing the explosion could happen any second now. Earth presses around me from all sides. The tunnel seems longer than 500 feet somehow. My lungs burn desperately. Behind me, the fuse burns steadily toward 4 tons of gunpowder and sleeping Confederates. 4:44 in the morning. A soldier from the 20th Michigan describes what happens. The earth heaves and lifts violently. A monstrous tongue of flame shoots 200 feet upward. White smoke billows skyward. Red earth fountains upward, mingled with men, Guns, timbers, debris, bodies. The blast kills instantly everyone directly above the mine. South Carolinians and Virginians vanish in fire and earth. One journalist writes, "Clods weighing at least a ton, along with cannon, human forms, gun carriages, and small arms, shot upward in that fountain of absolute horror. The crater opens like a wound in the earth itself, 170 feet long, 60 feet wide, 30 feet deep exactly. Where moments before soldiers had slept in fortifications, now there is simply nothing but emptiness, a vast hole with steep clay walls. The way to Petersburg lies open. 110 Union guns and 54 mortars open fire simultaneously in deafening thunder. The delayed explosion means dawn has arrived. Artillerymen can actually see their targets now clearly. For one moment, everyone stands paralyzed by the force of the blast. Then Ledley's division is supposed to charge. They should go around the crater, flanking left and right, seizing the heights beyond immediately. That was the plan everyone rehearsed. Instead, they marched directly into it. The hole looks like the world's safest foxhole. Deep walls, protection from enemy fire. Thousands of men pour straight in. Some Union soldiers stop to help dig Confederate survivors from wreckage, a humane gesture that proves their undoing completely. Had they swept past, pushed to Cemetery Hill as planned, they might have captured Petersburg that very day. Instead, they climb down into the crater and discover a trap. The earth that has fallen back is red clay mash. It sticks to boots, uniforms, weapons, everything. Men struggle to climb the steep 30-foot walls, but slip backward repeatedly. More troops keep arriving, piling in. The crater becomes a mass of confused, trapped soldiers under the morning sun. Where is General Ledley? His troops desperately need leadership. Someone to organize them, bark orders, inspire them to push forward through confusion. But Ledley isn't at the front lines. He has established himself well behind in a sandbagged bunker with General Ferrero. They are sharing rum. Confederate forces shake off their initial shock rapidly. Officers rally their men with shouts and curses. Artillery is wheeled forward to the crater's edge. Gunners point their cannon downward into the pit, where thousands of Union soldiers are packed together like cattle. Then they open fire at point-blank range. General William Mahone receives orders from Robert E. Lee himself. Fill the gap immediately. Small Billy Mahone is a Virginia Military Institute graduate, a veteran commander, lean and fierce as a wolf. His Virginia Brigade moves forward with fixed bayonets. When they reach the crater, they begin firing directly down. Potter's 2nd Division enters the battle from the left, then Wilcox's 3rd Division. None can advance past the killing ground. They all funnel into the crater or the trenches surrounding it. Communication breaks down completely. Meade and Burnside exchange angry telegrams, each accusing the other of incompetence. The temperature climbs higher. July in Virginia is merciless and humid. Heat and smoke hang over the battlefield like a suffocating blanket. Inside the crater, the heat drives some men literally mad with thirst. They scream, claw at the walls desperately, trampling over wounded comrades, dead bodies everywhere. Finally, at 7 in the morning, Ferrero's 4th Division receives orders to advance across open ground. The United States colored troops fix bayonets and move forward into hell. Confederate artillery opens up with crossfire from multiple positions. Grape shot and canister tear through their ranks. They keep advancing anyway. Some black soldiers shout, "Remember Fort Pillow!" That April, Confederate forces massacred surrendering black troops in Tennessee brutally. The memory fuels their courage now under fire. The 30th United States Colored Troops leads the division forward. Their color sergeant goes down immediately, his head torn apart. A corporal grabs the falling colors from dead hands. The lance is shattered by another shot instantly. More than half the 30th falls within minutes of advancing. But those who survive reach Confederate rifle pits on the crater's flanks. They capture 200 prisoners and a battle flag. They advance further. Support our channel. Subscribe so you won't miss exciting new videos. Your likes and comments inspire us to create more quality content. Together, we'll make this channel a place of knowledge and inspiration. Thank you for your support. When Mahone's Virginians see black troops, everything changes instantly. A Virginia officer tells his men, "You have hot work ahead. They are Negroes and show no quarter to them." Confederate soldiers, already enraged by the explosion that killed hundreds of their comrades, now fight with savage intensity. Black soldiers who try to surrender are often shot anyway without mercy. Those captured are sometimes murdered moments later in cold blood. A Virginia officer later admits, "Many a dusky warrior had his brains knocked out with a musket butt, or was run through with a bayonet, while vainly imploring mercy." Confederate artillery General Edward Porter Alexander confirms the atrocity in his memoirs. Some Negro prisoners originally allowed to surrender were afterward shot by others, and there was, without doubt, a great deal of unnecessary killing of them. This isn't combat anymore, it's execution, plain and simple. One Alabama soldier describes cutting a wounded black soldier's throat with a pocket knife, even after General Mahone begs him to stop immediately. He writes his brother about it casually, as if describing routine farm work. 250 wounded black prisoners are captured. Many bear bayonet wounds, skull fractures. I see my regiment driven back by overwhelming fire. Men fall around me in heaps. The Confederate line seems impenetrable like stone, but I still carry my colors proudly. I plant them on Confederate earthworks in advance of my regiment. When everyone retreats, I carry the flag back, rally surviving men. At headquarters, Grant himself arrives to observe the disaster unfolding. He sees the chaos, thousands of men trapped, Confederate artillery firing down into the mass, bodies piling up. He sends direct orders to Burnside, pull everyone back immediately. It is slaughter to leave them there. Burnside ignores the order. The fighting lasts 8.5 hours of hell. The July heat is unbearable for everyone. Wounded men scream for water that never comes. Inside the crater, soldiers stand on corpses because there is no other space available. Some try using bayonets as climbing tools to escape the walls. A New York soldier stumbles over naked bodies of the South Carolinians killed in the initial blast. He finds what appears to be Union soldiers lying in the perfect battle formation. He approaches cautiously. They are all dead, arranged by the explosion's force or by those desperately seeking cover. One Confederate writes later that Confederates and Yankees blamed each other for the defeat bitterly. The wounded Negroes were disposed to lay it on the Yankees. Everyone is covered in red clay and blood. The crater has become hell itself, a pit of death under the merciless summer sun. Finally, the retreat begins in chaos. Survivors scramble back across open ground, while Confederate rifles and artillery target them relentlessly. Those still trapped in the crater become prisoners by the hundreds. The brilliant plan has become the war's most spectacular disaster. Petersburg remains Confederate. The siege continues. Union casualties, 504 dead, 1,881 wounded, 1,413 missing or captured. Confederate casualties, 361 dead, 727 wounded, 403 missing. The 4th Division alone suffers 1,327 casualties total. Grant sends a telegram to Army Chief of Staff Henry Halleck. His words are simple and devastating. It was the saddest affair I have witnessed in war. Such opportunity for carrying fortifications I have never seen and do not expect again to have. 4 tons created potential, then sealed doom. In the investigation that follows, everyone becomes a target for blame. The Congressional Committee blames Meade for changing the battle plan. Meade blames Burnside for poor execution. Burnside blames Ledlie for cowardice. Ledlie blames the troops. Everyone blames the 4th Division, the black soldiers who fought hardest. General Orlando Wilcox accuses the United States colored troops of having acted badly. This is a lie. They had advanced further than any white division. They captured prisoners and battle flags. They fought 2 enemies that day, Confederates who executed them and fellow Union soldiers who abandoned them completely. Burnside and Ledlie are given leave with no orders to return from Washington. Their careers end. Ferrero, who shared rum while his division bled out, faces no consequences whatsoever. Grant remains and Meade remains. The war grinds on. Petersburg will not fall for 8 more months, the longest siege in American history. But something shifts that day beneath the surface. Sergeant Decatur Dorsey becomes the 2nd African-American soldier awarded the Medal of Honor. 15 more will follow. Black soldiers have proven their courage under the most horrific conditions. They fought for a nation that still questioned their humanity daily. Think about those miners who spent 5 weeks tunneling through darkness. They accomplished the impossible. Engineering marvels with improvised tools, creating ventilation systems experts said couldn't work, digging further than anyone believed possible. Their tunnel was perfect. The plan was brilliant. The execution failed completely because of leadership. Today you can visit Petersburg National Battlefield. The crater remains, though smaller now, softened by 160 years of weather and memory. Stand at its edge. Imagine 4 tons of gunpowder erupting beneath your feet. Imagine thousands of men trapped inside, dying under artillery fire and heat. The Battle of the Crater teaches a truth about war. Brilliance means nothing without leadership and coordination. Innovation fails when commanders are incompetent or drunk. Courage cannot overcome confusion and chaos. And sometimes, the most audacious plan in military history becomes remembered not for genius, but for tragedy alone. On July 30th, 1864, an explosion shakes the earth and briefly opens a path to victory and ending the war. But victory requires more than firepower or clever engineering alone. It requires leadership, coordination, courage under fire. That day, Union forces had only explosives. Petersburg stood unconquered.